Y'all mind if I hit my midlife crisis 20 years early? So the hood, really lightweight actually. One person job, goes up on its own. Don't need to pry it up with anything. It's just gonna lift itself up, which is really nice. There it is, supercharged LT4, 6.2 liter V8 engine. Now, the cool thing about the LT4 is that it's a pushrod engine, so it's only 16 valve V8, which means it's really small actually. Compared to my 5 liter Coyote that was in my Mustang GT, that was a 32 valve V8. It was a dual overhead cam engine. And that engine was pretty massive actually, whereas this one, what's the good thing about it being small despite having larger displacement is that pushrod engines can sit further here, which is where you want your center of mass to kind of be closer in the middle to have that beautiful 50-50 weight distribution, which most Corvettes get pretty close to that number. It's a matter of simplicity, it's a matter of reliability, maintenance, and all the other things. This car is not a headache whatsoever, and that's important to me because as someone who already put so many miles on it, I want a car that I can freaking drive. I didn't buy a car to just let it sit in the garage and look pretty. I intend to own this car for as long as it runs, or at least, oh, let's hope this time around someone doesn't slam their pickup truck into it because they couldn't stop in time for a red light. But assuming no one crashes into me this time, I will keep this car, honestly, maybe forever, until I actually do hit a midlife crisis. So moving on to the interior, a lot of people were saying that I was wrong when I said that it was too plasticky. No, I'm not wrong. It is very plasticky, which is why I don't really consider this, I guess, supercar-esque or luxury in that sense. But I decided to change my mind, in my opinion, because of this one button. Check this out. That is some freaking James Bond right there. Like, look at that. It's a secret compartment behind your infotainment system. Does your car have a secret compartment behind its infotainment system? I didn't think so. It also has a USB port in there. 10 out of 10, best interior ever just because of that one thing. I now no longer have any gripes about this interior. Anyways, let's go ahead and start her up. Like any other American car, it has that weird beepity startup sound that I really loathe and hated on my Mustang, and it's still carried over because the Z06 also has one. Hooray! Not really. Anyways, these dials over here, they're rubberized. I know a lot of YouTube car reviewers go crazy over how buttons and dials feel. I don't give a crap. Just give me a car that is ergonomic, so it has things in a sensible location, and it's driver focused. So if you notice, everything on this car is facing me. Even the center console storage area opens only in my direction. So if you're the passenger, oopsie daisy. But the car still has a lot of really cool things that you just couldn't live without, like a glove box. I like that. And a lot of cars kind of forget stuff like that. It has a nice little cigarette lighter, as well as 2 cup holders to the side of the shifter. So if you did get a manual, it wouldn't get in your way like with the Mustang where you'd hit your cup. So I did buy an automatic 8-speed because I like paddles. I talk about them all the time. I know there's gonna be some manual elitists in the comments. Look, I don't care what transmission you like or what car you drive. This is my car that I spent with my money, and I'm gonna buy the one that I like. So you go out and buy the one you like, all right? So the automatic Z06 is actually faster than the manual. It is 2.95 seconds 0 to 60. The manual is 3.2 seconds. In case you've forgotten, the car makes sure to remind you of the little badge here. It says Z06, 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque, which is very, very nice. As for this infotainment system, it is touchscreen, it does have navigation, it does have Apple CarPlay. Let's hit the home button. And here in the settings, you can see, you can even change the driving mode. So here, you can individually choose sport, track, touring, or just auto, which means that this mode selector will take control if you pick the auto setting. So whatever mode you're in, it'll automatically adjust to it. I personally like keeping the car always on track for exhaust. That way, no matter what mode I'm in, it's always got nice gusto sounding. And honestly, it's a lot quieter than my Mustang was. It doesn't crackle or backfire, so I'll do something to change that in the future. So back to the mode thing I was mentioning. Turn it right, we'll move it to more aggressive settings. Turn it left to move it to more cruising settings. So for an example, let's take a look here. Right now I'm in track mode. Then there's sport mode, then there's touring mode, then there's eco mode, and then there's also a weather mode. So the advantages of touring mode is that usually if you have auto select on, it's going to close off the exhaust. So what is really cool about this car is it has active exhaust. So when you put the quieter settings on, it will actually close the mufflers using butterfly valves, which is really nice. As for the gauges, it has a 220 mile an hour speedometer. It feels very supercar-esque with how it displays your revs, which is really cool. Currently, I have my parking brake on, which is electronic, so we can just push it down and it'll turn right off. And then to put it back on, you just pull up on it. So you do this, which is really cool. And it even does heads-up display for navigation, so not just your speed. It's like you're playing a video game almost. You have your little mini map and your speed, which is really, really cool. You have your O handle for your passenger, both here as well as on the other side. And a little fun thing is it's asymmetrical in the sense that the door handle for the passenger is over here, but for the driver, it's down here. So a bit asymmetrical, but to be fair, this car wasn't symmetrical to begin with because it has this driver-oriented design. And I like the very simple ergonomic design of not too many buttons in the center console. It's not crowded, it doesn't feel crowded. Also, did I mention this button? Of course I did, but I'm gonna push it again anyways because it's just so satisfying. That is just so satisfying, I love that. So let's go outside and hear the car from the outside. As you can see with track mode, all 4 exhausts are active right now. It's surprisingly quiet and idle compared to my Mustang. For now, we'll turn it off. There is no like external, it's kind of like caved in again for aerodynamic purposes. You also have a vent here, it is functional. Beautiful, beautiful wheels, but let's talk about the aero on this car first. So vent, got a nice little spoiler here. You have another vent here, another one down here, and it's gonna be symmetrical on this side. So here, here, and again on there. Nice little vent down here to cool your rear brakes. And this beautiful, beautiful vent on this front fender flare right here, which is why this one, the Z06, is much wider than the Z51 Stingrays or regular Stingrays are. The Grand Sport also has this as well, but the Grand Sport will have a lower hood because the Z06 has a freaking supercharger on top. But again, we'll talk about aero. So in the rear, that's also why the rear is much, much wider. So if we look here, it's because the rear has to accommodate for this vent down here and thicker rear tires. This is not the Z07 package, so the splitter does not have a little winglet or whatever those things are called. The splitter is not very long, but it's very solid, very sturdy, and it has some sacrificial material underneath it that feels very cheap, which is good because in case you do scrape, whatever is underneath it will take the hit for you, so you won't mess up your nice splitter. Another bit of aero is it has an additional vent up here for cooling. And it also, of course, has air that could come in through the front grille. Unfortunately, the Z06 is known for overheating under intense track conditions. And that honestly is because Chevrolet should have. They should have made a larger grille. They corrected it with the ZR1, but the Z06, it's still a little bit too small. They should have made it really go as wide as possible. I'm sure there's an aftermarket solution for that. So onto the wheels. 19-inch fronts, 20-inch rears. Let's talk about the fronts first. So we have big, beautiful 6-piston brakes right here that say Corvette on them. Very, very beautiful. Bright yellow to match the car, which is amazing. Nice little slotted brakes on there, which is nice. It says Z06 on the wheel. Riding on Michelin Pilot Super Sports, and it's 285 width for the front. And little interesting note, if you've never driven a car with really fat wheels, this does scrub under low speeds, so you want to keep it constantly spinning to make sure that it doesn't scrub while doing something like a U-turn, or really just even doing normal turns if you're driving in like a neighborhood or somewhere that is low speed. So keep that in mind if you're planning on buying one of these cars yourself, that you do have to have some experience with that. Otherwise you'll just constantly be rubbing against your wheel well and damaging it over time, which is not going to be good for either your tire or your wheel wells. So you gotta, don't angle it like less, angle it more. It's the speed you gotta worry about. Just gas it a little, just have a little confidence, gas it a little, and then also get the angle going, and it won't rub just fine. It has a rocker panel that continues onwards. And now let's take a look at the rear wheel. So this one, like I said, is a 20-inch. It's a very nice looking rim. I personally don't like chrome. I don't think black wheels will look that great on this. Personally, I would match the color with the vents, because the vents are kind of more of like an anthracite color. They have like this beautiful sparkle to them. If possible, I'd love to powder coat the wheels that same exact color. You also see nice set of brakes back here as well. Overall, great. Now this tire is very beefy. Again, it's a Michelin Pilot Super Sport. It is insane width. This is a 335, so to really fathom its width, we're gonna have to go back here. That's a wide tire. The Z06 comes with clear taillights. This is not an aftermarket mod. This is just how they come. And personally, I love clear taillights. I used to go through a super edgy Kyoto phase with my Mustang GT where I had blacked out taillights. Eventually, I kind of don't like the look of blacked out, but I don't like the look of candy apple red either. So clear, honestly, if I could go back, if I still had that, I would have put clear taillights, like the Euro spec taillights on it. That would have looked great. I know Europeans actually like the American Mustang lights, but I prefer the European ones. But that's enough about the Mustang. Let's talk more about the Corvette. In regards to trunk space, very impressive, because it is a front engine car. You got a big old trunk back here. Very nice and spacious with a great opening, unlike the Mustang and Camaro. The Mustang wasn't bad, but the Camaro's opening is not so great. My brother owns a Camaro SS and he did not like its trunk opening at all. So here we have the original sticker. Its original sticker price was $94,435. It does have a little bump over there, so whatever you put back here doesn't slide over up into your face while you're driving. And I put a whole bunch of suitcases back here when I long distance back from Indianapolis to Atlanta, and nothing moved. It was perfect. And it does have a lot of friction down here, which is good, because again, it helps keep things in place. And you can even see the big old wheel wells back here for where your big thick rear tires would be. I'm having second thoughts about wanting to wide body it, because the Z06 is already so wide. Originally I was going to buy just a regular Stingray and just wide body it. Now what's really cool about the trunk is if you don't close it completely, it has a little motor that will close it completely for you, which is really cool. It's usually, let's be real, it's bought by older gentlemen going through a midlife crisis. It's the stereotype of the Corvette. And because of that, it's not super loud. It's actually decently soft when you ride it as well. And on touring mode, the car honestly isn't that bumpy. For how low this car is, it rides fantastically. Another note I'd like to mention is a long time ago, I made a video talking about how to enter sports cars. And I said that you have to go in by sitting first and then swiveling your legs in. And someone said that that was very douchey and show-offy to enter a car. They say, why not just stick your leg in like a normal car? Well, mister, you must be fairly short. I'm about 6 foot. I'm actually only 5'11" 3/4.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
But the point I'm trying to say is, as someone who's above average height, and even average height, like my brother who's around 5'9", this makes a difference. He can't even get into a Corvette leg first, and if he does, he's gonna, you're gonna hit yourself on this part. Like, you're gonna have to bend your back at such a weird arc. Like, that's just dumb. Like, don't go leg first. It's more natural for your back to bend this way. Like, this is normal. That's why people who own sports cars or really low-slung supercars enter butt first. It's not because they're trying to be a show-offy douche. That's going to be it for this video. I'll definitely make videos of driving and vlogging around with my buddies later. Sorry that I haven't uploaded very often as of recent. They admitted fault. I got my money. It just took way too long for it to happen, but that's pretty normal based on what I've heard. So, a lot of stress finally dealt with. Got my new car. Beautiful, beautiful car. I love it a lot. If you love Corvette videos or anything pertaining to the Z06, please subscribe and stay tuned. Other than that, thank you for watching and see y'all next time. Blade Angel out.